But yeah, I know that there's a lot that we learned from my dad, and a lot that we're gonna miss, and it's really difficult to replace. But I know we're gonna try somehow. Thank you everyone for coming and for honoring my dad.
You know, they told us like maybe 20, 30 minutes ago that we had to do a speech. And when we were thinking about speeches, or I was thinking about speeches, there's only really two ways you can do it at an event like this. You either make people laugh or you make people cry. And I really didn't know which way to go. I still haven't decided right now. You know, throughout this whole thing with people's speeches to him, everyone said, you know, he's a great man, he's a very generous man. All things are true, right? He has the capacity of kindness that I could never imagine of having, and the capacity of forgiveness and love that I only wish I could attain someday. I kind of want to start, like, just share some things that I guess maybe some people don't know about my dad. I think number one is like, my dad was a really funny guy. Like, he's a really silly guy. He loved making fun of people, mainly my mom. He always loved to talk my mom. Again, like kind of how she said in her speech, where like, oh, they're always partners or always boyfriend and girlfriend. You know, that thing is true. He would never compliment my mom's cooking. He always said like, oh, you can do better. You know, so we always ate out at the same places because like my dad's favorite place to eat. He loved American food, so if he had to eat here, he probably would go home and eat In-N-Out. He would not be able to eat any of this food. He loved to have it In-N-Out. It's great that the mortuary was right next to all those fast food places, so he can enjoy it. My dad actually, again, very weird thing to love, but he loved crying. If that even makes any sense. So he would watch like, you know, X Factor, American Idol, and he'd see these touching stories. And he'd watch it and he'd just start crying. And like my mom and my siblings would always make fun of him, like, why are you crying? And it's not just like, okay, you watch one thing, touching, cry. Every night he just watch these things and just start crying. Like, same video, 10 times, cry. And I asked him like, why are you crying? You know, you watch this again and again. And again, his capacity for kindness and for love, he said like, it's so touching, right? He just enjoyed things where humans are able to come together and be touched and have something where a moment of love or a moment of kindness and compassion. And I know that if my dad were able to see these past couple of days, he'd probably end up crying. You know, seeing all these people come together to come eat, celebrate his life. At the mass, I've been to a couple of funerals. Obviously, my mom and my grandma have been to a lot of funerals. But to see the whole church be filled with people that I don't know, maybe in this room I only know like 85% of the people, and I'm his daughter, shows that he touched a lot of people's lives. And if we put this in a YouTube segment with some cheesy music in the back, he'd probably start crying. And from B's speech of saying like, oh, he always had these huge parties. Like my dad wasn't a very sociable person. I think everyone who knows him can agree. Like he didn't, he wasn't the life of the party. He didn't like talking or drinking that much, or going crazy. But he loved hosting parties. He loved bringing people together. And I think in this sense, it's one of his last moments to really bring a lot of people together and to celebrate his life. So once again, guys, thank you for coming, and thank you for celebrating my dad.
Quay cái view cho nó rộng.
So in yesterday's viewing, everyone talked about how he was such a generous and caring man, and that he would
give the shirt on his back for you, right? But I feel like that didn't capture enough about how giving he actually was. In his last moments with me, he's like, "Nee, I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Dad, what do you have to be sorry about? There's nothing to be sorry about." He's like, "No, I just feel like I failed you." And I was like, "No, Dad, like I failed you. I'm sorry. Like this guy would go to work for so many years, 12 hours a day, come back home, clean up the house on his days off, just clean up. And he still felt like he failed me, and I just couldn't understand how someone who could work that hard for so many years could possibly say, "I'm sorry." So at the end of the day, he was still a humble man. But he did these things out of generosity, not because he wanted something in return, but because that's just who he was. And Kang actually yesterday talked to Tringham, and he told me the story about how my dad held Kang's hand and was like, "Kang, I just want you to be kind and to be courteous, because when you are courteous, it'll change the way you see the world." And he gave so much, and I can never repay that back, and I never will be able to. But it wasn't him. He didn't do these things for me so that I could repay him back. He did these things for me so I can bring it forward, to share his legacy and to continue being courteous, and that same caring spirit to other people in my life. And I'm just so happy that everyone is here. He would be really happy too. So thank you. I'm sorry for crying.
Tôi là Nguyễn thuộc Khang Michigan Đức. Anh của con là Nguyễn Nhân Brandon Đức. Chị của con Nguyễn Hiền Natalie Đức. Các chị ở Đức. Là Nguyễn Gia Quan Kathleen Đức. Bố cho mình tên của bố. Hôm nay con đeo đồng hồ của bố, cái bracelet của bố, cái thai của bố. Bố cho mình nhiều quá. Thì con rất xin lỗi bố. Con cũng cho bố. Nhiều người ở đây biết. Everybody says that he was so kind and generous. The first time we went to the ER, my sister Natalie and I were there. One fell down. He held my hand and he said, "Mấy anh chị em thương nhau. Bố thương nhiều, thương mẹ thương." Brothers and sisters, we have to love each other. Dad loves you very much, and please love Mom too. The second time and final time, bố con đi ER. Bố cầm tay con, Hiền ở đó too, mẹ ở đó too. Bố nói, "Okay. Please be generous, because you'll see the world in a new light. It'll be far more beautiful than you can ever know." Bố cho mình nhiều. Bố was very kind, very generous. But bố mình không biết. But bố suffering inside nhiều. Nhiều lần bố cho tiền, còn mình không có tiền. Một lần, one time, nhiều lần bố cho nhà thờ St. John the Baptist. Every time the donation comes, he give $100. Con hỏi bố tại sao? Có nhiều quá bố ơi, mình không có tiền. Tại sao bố cho? Bố tối ngày nói, mình muốn if mình giúp người ta, Chúa giúp mình. Now, when bố, in the final days, con biết bố đau quá. Con biết bố khổ sở quá. Con pray to Chúa ơi, please have mercy. Please relieve my dad of his suffering. Chúa ơi, Chúa answer that prayer. Bố con không biết. đặt xuống để bố con chụp. Nếu không thì nói sự đổ vốn, con không cho bố nhiều, bố con cho con everything, bố không cho bố gì. Nhiều lời nói, but please carry on your father's legacy. Con cũng làm cái đó một mình thôi, con đừng hỏi anh chị em của con, everybody đừng giúp con làm cái đó được. Con cảm ơn bố được, bố cho con nhiều quá, bố cho everybody ở đây nhiều quá, con thấy nhiều người ở đây bố thương quá, con cảm ơn bố.
That was so touching. I'm sure, and look, these are his.
Thì ở đây rất là quý giá đối với lại Đức for celebrate his life, and one way that he can say farewell to you all and start a new eternal life that he's seeking. So thank you very, very much. Your presence here is very precious to him. So this way I don't have to say thank you to anybody in the future, right? So đây là mình nói đây là cái gì như là tiệc cưới mà, như là tiệc cưới Cana đó là có cái 3 ngày thì vì Dương là coi như là hôm nay là ngày thứ 2 rồi, còn tới ngày